Hey gang, today we are going to go over some music theory. So this is my first music theory video. It's going to be on the major scale, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Buckle up your seatbelts. It's going to be a wild ride. So major scale, what is it? How do we make one from scratch, from any note on the keyboard? There is a method to do this. If you don't already have your major scales memorized, you can memorize this formula of intervals, and you can basically create a major scale from any note you want. You just sit down, pick a note, and you can make a major scale. It's pretty great. So the first step in doing this is you need to understand the concept of semitones. A semitone is the distance between notes when you're traveling up and down the keyboard. So a chromatic pattern like I'm doing now is just consisted of one semitone after another. So from C to C sharp is considered one semitone. From F down to E is considered one semitone. And if you wanted to go from G to F, that would be considered two semitones because of this note right here. So even though the notes look like they're next to each other, you have to consider the black key, F sharp. In order for it to be a semitone, it has to be directly adjacent. So to get to a semitone, it doesn't matter if it's a black key or a white key, if it's a sharp, flat, or a natural. If it's the next adjacent key, it's considered a semitone. Capiche? So now that you understand what a semitone is, we can talk about whole steps and half steps. So let's start with half steps. A half step is basically the exact same thing as a semitone. It's the very next key over. So from C to C sharp would be a half step. From F to E would be a half step, etc., etc. And a whole step would be considered two semitones. So if you wanted to go from C to D, that would be considered a whole step. If you want to go from G to F, that would be considered a whole step. F to E flat is a whole step. G to F is a whole step. So the way we create major scales, or any scale for that matter, we have to create a specific relationship of intervals that is the same every time. So for example, a major scale is comprised of the root note. In this case we're going to start with C, and then we're going to go up a whole step to D, up a whole step to E, up a half step to F, whole, 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 half. And now we're back on C, only an octave higher, thus completing the major scale. So if we use the same formula, we can create a major scale on any note we want. So let's start with D. First play the root note, then you go up to E, whole step, up to F sharp, whole step, G, half step, whole step, whole step, whole, half. And then we're done. Let's try B flat. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And for the last example, we'll do A. Start on the root note A, go up a whole, go up a whole, go up a half, go up a whole, 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 half. So the relationship of these intervals is always the same in a major scale regardless of what note you start on. This is why there is a unique major scale for all 12 keys. The best part is that this major scale theory applies to any musical instrument based in Western traditional music. So you could take a guitar or saxophone and you could do the same exact thing. So the next time you want to play a major scale and you might not have it memorized, or maybe you've forgotten it, you can just pick the root note you want to, go up a whole step, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So let's say you want to reverse it and play a descending scale. You just reverse the order of the whole steps and half steps. So you would start on your note, you would go down to half, whole, 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 half, whole, whole. Wow, so that wraps it up for today's lesson. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, and all that jazz. No, seriously, do it. Because if you don't, I will come to your house, and next time you wake up in the middle of the night, I will be standing over you, watching you, asking you politely why you did not subscribe or like my video. Obviously, I'm joking, but seriously, do it. Just like the freaking video, okay? Until next time.